In our town we've been having terrible problems recently with the traffic lights, and cars have been bumping into each other and all sorts of chaos because the lights aren't working properly. And the problem is that when they should be green they're coming up red, so people are stopping when they should be starting, or starting when they should be stopping, and they're bumping into each other, and it's a real mess. So the town decided to do something about it, and they got hold of an expert who was called Mr. Clever. Now, that wasn't his real name, of course, but that's what the people in the town called him. And he said, well, the first thing to do is have a look and see if we can see what the problem is. So he lifted the cover off the traffic lights and he said, well, the first problem you've got is that they're in completely the wrong order. So he said, what we'll do is tip the light bulbs out, which he did. He said, and then we'll cover the traffic lights so that people aren't confused, and we'll put up a sign saying out of order. Now I'm sure all the boys and girls here know exactly what order the traffic lights should be, so perhaps you can tell me what's right at the bottom. Green. Very good. That's exactly right. So if I just reach in and take out the green one, we'll put that in first. And then Mr. Clever said, and what goes in the middle? After you've got the green one, you have the yellow or the orange one. That one goes next. And he said, finally, the only one that's left is the red one. So that goes in at the top. So we've got green, then yellow, then red. And Mr. Clever said you can take away the sign, take off the cover, because I've solved the problem completely, and it... Oh, just a minute, they seem to be wrong again. And Mr. Clever said this looks a rather more difficult problem than I thought it was going to be. I tell you what, perhaps we didn't put them in correctly. I'll tip them back in here, out of the way, and we'll start again. So we'll cover it over so people aren't confused. We'll put up the out of order sign. Let's start again. So at the bottom goes the green bulb. And then in the middle we've got the yellow, the orange. And finally at the top we have got the red one. And he said, right, you can take away the sign, the out of order sign, uncover it, because now we've... And for some reason it's gone wrong a second time. And Mr. Clever said this is a much more difficult problem than I thought it was going to be. I tell you what, he said, we'll actually watch what we're doing this time. We'll tip those away, and to make sure that we're putting them in the right order, we'll put the green in first, then we'll put the yellow one, and then the one that's left is of course the red one. He said this was the one that seems to be the problem all the time. So he said, it's lunch break at the moment. I tell you what we'll do. We'll put up the out of order sign. We'll cover this over with the stand, and I'll take the red bulb back to the shop in the lunch break and see if I can get it changed. He said, I'll just wrap it up in a bit of paper. In fact, I better make sure and do this properly. I'll wrap it up in 2 bits of paper, and that's exactly what he did. And he took it along to the shop. And the man in the shop said, I'm really sorry. He said, I've got green bulbs, I've got yellow bulbs, but I have no more red bulbs. And poor old Mr. Clever, he didn't know what to do. So he went back and he thought, what can I do with a bulb that doesn't work? And he suddenly remembered that he had a friend who was a magician. And he phoned up his friend the magician and he explained the problem. And the magician said, not a problem at all. He said, with a couple of waves of my wand, I can sort that out completely. And Mr. Clever said, well, you've done it already. He said, oh yes. He said, take away the out of order sign because you won't need that again. He said, very slowly, just lift up the cover on the traffic lights so that everybody can see. At the bottom, you've got green. Above that, you've got yellow. He said, and you'll find that the red is now in exactly the right place. There's nothing left in the tube at all. Well, Mr. Clever was absolutely delighted. He said, there's only one thing I don't understand. He said, if the red bulb is here, what have I got here? And the magician said, well, open it up. You did say that you'd taken it back in your lunch break, and I thought you might appreciate something for your lunch. So I put an orange in for you. And that is our presentation for Stratosphere.